Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank you all for coming and spending the next close to an hour with me. As Matt said, for the next 45 minutes we're going to talk about retail sales skills for good and bad times. At the end of that, please stick around, because in addition to question and answer, we're going to have a special offer for everybody that sticks through, and I think you're going to find some things today that open your eyes, and there's going to be some things today that are going to make you come up with more questions. Some certainly we can answer here, more that we'll be able to answer in our full-blown retail sales skills seminar, and like I said, there'll be a really wonderful offer at the end of this presentation for you to look at. So that being said, today this is just a sampling of what the full-blown webinar offers, and we're going to touch on some very important points. And I know we've got two types of people out there. We've got some of you that are in management, sales management, regional managers, positions like that. This is going to be important for you. You're going to try to take what we talk about today and use it not only to better yourself, but to better your people, and to allow you to better communicate with your sales associates, knowing where they need to be and what they need to be doing better. And for you sales associates out there, this will be a great opportunity to better yourself and become a better sales associate, which always, helps you make more money, if nothing else. But it gives you a better understanding of what your management is looking for out of you. So, no matter who you are on the totem pole, so to speak, these are skills and techniques that can be very, very helpful to you in bettering yourself and where you're standing. And heck, who doesn't want to do that? So without further delay, so for starters, retail skills for good and bad times. I'm a little bit of an optimist, and as a result, I actually like to refer to it as retail sales skills for good and better times. Even in the most dire of straits, you got to keep a positive approach to things and a positive attitude, and that's something that comes from within, and it comes from practice. And if you say things are tough and things are bad, they're going to be tough. They're going to be bad. Whereas if you say, well, they're good and they're getting better, you can even convince yourself of that, and believe me, they will be good and they will be getting better. So we're going to touch on 5 areas today in this next hour. Probably the 5 more important aspects of being as sharp as possible in your retail sales skills approach. We're going to talk about the attributes of the ideal retail salesperson. We want our people and our sales associates on the floor to be fully prepared. But they need to have the right mojo, the right makeup going in. So we're going to talk about that. We have to understand our customers, what motivates them to buy, why they buy, where they buy, and far more than a marketing standpoint of view, we need to know once they go in the store what turns them on, what doesn't, because if we can take control of those things, we'll create a far more inviting atmosphere for the customers to buy. We need to commit to a training program, and as you see it on the slide there, training program / routine. It does need to be a routine. Far too often I work with companies that say, we have the greatest training in the world, we train like crazy, we're always training, and then when I get in to take a look, not so much. It needs to be routine. It needs to be a daily, hourly thing. It needs to be constant support and constant training and constant learning. Always be learning. One of the other things we're going to talk about, which is something I think that's kind of special here at DMS, is sharpening your telephone and communication skills. Nobody really talks about the telephone today, yet many things that I have read and come across in my customer surveys is how turned off they are by telephone programs and telephone systems that answer the phone, and then customers that finally do get to a sales associate or an agent and are treated poorly on the phone. It's something that is a lost art, and it's something we'll touch on a little bit. And then last but not least in these 5 important areas is allowing for growth and learning. You know, I learned very, very early on in my sales career that the person that knows it all has only one way to go, and that's backwards, because he already knows it all. Whereas if you allow for growth and learning, you're always going to be moving forward. So those are the areas we're going to touch on. Let's jump right in. One of the most important things for a sales associate is to show professionalism in appearance and approach. Now, I know this sounds probably very rudimentary to a lot of you and very basic, but you would be surprised at how much, when we do things every single day, that the old saying is it's hard to see the trees from the forest, and how much we forget basic things like how important it is to show professionalism, appearance, and approach. You need to constantly make certain that you speak like a professional. You need to act like a professional. Here's one that I run into a lot of issues with out there today: dressing like a professional. The old saying was dress for success. You know, you are what you wear, and you present that image. The more professional image you have, the more professional you will appear. You may hear me say this more than once, but in retail, perception is reality, and never more so than in retail. And this is a great example of that. Customers are going to come in and perceive who you are based on how you're dressed. So you need to dress the part. Practicing good hygiene. You know, we all have to eat lunch every day, but let's make certain we're fresh and ready to greet our customers when that's done. Again, I know this sounds like very basic stuff, but at DMS, we visit stores all the time, almost daily, not only in our personal lives, but from our professional capacity. And we can't help but analyze everything that happens. And I'm certain there's many of you out there that do this as well. You're in the retail business and you have a need yourself, and you go out there and you can't help but analyze the kind of approach retail associates have, and their customer service and their readiness, and you can't help it because you're in the business. And we do it all the time, and it's amazing how many people don't practice these attributes right here on this slide. Hygiene, believe it or not, is one of them. So especially you managers out there, go out and buy some mints. That's all I'll say. Do not bring any undue attention to himself, herself. Your appearance should be understated but confident. You know, I know there's some of you that have a little bit of a buzz business out there, or kind of a hip business, or maybe you run a record store, I just dated myself, a CD store, whatever, and you have a little bit more of a hip approach. Okay, that's fine, that's dressing the part. But in all other areas, all other aspects, you need to dress for success, and you need to look the part. You are a reflection of your store. So remember, you've always been taught never to prejudge customers, but they will always prejudge you, and how you dress and how you appear reflects your company. And if in any way it's not professional, then guess what their idea of you is. It's one of being not professional. So let's move on. Let's try to move on. Okay. Understanding what motivates your customers. You'll oftentimes hear trainers tell you you need to put yourself in your customer's shoes. And why is that? Well, if we know what motivates them, if we know what turns them on, if we know what their hot buttons are, what do? We hit those hot buttons. So first, before we can do that, we need to understand what it is that turns them on. All right? And here's a list. There's a list of many, but here's a list of 5. The first is pride of ownership. Who doesn't love buying this brand new, wonderful gadget that will make us happy and allow us to show our friends, hey, look at this widget, look at this gadget, I've got this is the greatest. I just bought this, it's the latest, it's the newest. It's pride of ownership. We need to tap into that when we talk to our customers and understand it, and even suggest it while we're on the selling floor. Hey, Mr. Customer, once you have this, you're going to be able to show it to your friends and say, I've got the latest, greatest, and you introduce the pride of ownership to them. It's something that they will definitely be able to, that will resonate with them. And you knowing that helps you have that upper leg. Prestige and status. This is usually reserved for name brand product like Mercedes and products of that sort. But prestige and status goes two ways. Some customers that are value customers are into the prestige and status from an opposite angle. Hey, this is just like a Mercedes, except it was half the price. It has all these features that a Mercedes has, but it was at a X of the price. So prestige and status isn't just for you high-end stores out there. It is something that can be implanted with every customer. And if they're not feeling it, as a sales associate, you should be planting it. You should be telling them, like we said earlier, not only pride of ownership, but you should feel head and shoulders above the rest of your crowd and have the prestige and status of owning this product. Once you plant those seeds, they will grow in your customers and they will feel it. Today, more than ever, customers are really gravitating to simplification of life. What does your product do that makes their life easier? Let's take a step back and realize it's a very busy world we live in today, and it's a very fast-paced world we live in today. Many households have both husband and wife working at the same time. And in addition to both mom and dad working, we're taking Junior to soccer practice and hockey practice and music class and dance class and you name it. It's a very, very busy life. And people are out there looking to purchase things to make their life simpler, to organize their life, to make their life easier. Our products will offer that for them. No matter what we have, let's figure out how it simplifies the lives of our customers, and let's make sure we make certain we share that with them. Your life's going to be much easier. Your life's going to be much better. I sold mattresses for many years. And a mattress or a bed, when you get a good night's sleep, you have far more energy the next day to attack that daily schedule that you have that's getting busier and busier and busier. So find the niche of your product and the way that it will simplify the lives of your customers and make certain that you sell it to them in your features and benefits presentation. So, and speaking of features and benefits, customers need to be comfortable with them and comfortable with how they benefit them. It's not enough anymore to say my product has feature X which gives you benefit Y. We need to make certain that the customers interact with these products, that they have a comfort zone with the features and benefits. I'll give you a quick example. I've gone out recently and I bought a new DVD player for my son's bedroom. And, I walked into the store and pride of ownership, prestige and status. I wanted one of the nicest DVD players with all the latest bells and whistles that does this, that, and the other thing. And the salesperson said, well, certainly you want all that. But he didn't really take the time to explain it all to me. I took the box, I threw it in my car, I brought it home, I set it up, and I'm still not exactly certain how to work all these products. Now, some of these features I may never use. I don't know, but I should have some comfort with those features and be able to realize the benefit of them. The old saying was for years and years people had VCRs and DVD players where the time 12 just flashed and flashed. It's because they were never really made comfortable with the features that will benefit them from those products, and as a result, they were never really able to set them up well at home. And in the end, just a real quick follow-up to that, in the end, those customers get frustrated with those products, and whose fault is that? Think about that for a second. Whose fault is it that they don't thoroughly know the products that they purchased? You're right. It's not their fault. Customers are never at fault. It's the sales associate's fault. It's the store's fault. It's the company's fault. It's the national retailer's fault. So what becomes the message at that point is, yes, I did buy this product from store X, and I thought it was a great product, but they never really showed me how to use it, and I'm not happy with it, and I would really never go there again, and I would not recommend for you to go there again. So you see how this can play out in the long run. So it's pretty important to make certain your customers are comfortable with all the features and understand how they'll benefit them. Okay, number 5 on this list is price. We actually normally would like to refer to this as value, the value for their dollar, the return on their investment for a customer. But we're going to stick with the word price right now because I want to make a point. It's number 5 on the list for a reason. All these other things come in front of price because that's how customers view it. That's how customers look at it. When you interview customers and you speak to them about what is the most important thing in buying a new product, price always falls way down the list. Yet in a gathering such as this, if this were an open forum and we were to be speaking to each other and I were to do the same interview, you would be amazed at how many sales associates put price at number 1. So you ask sales associate Mary, what do you think is the most important thing to customers when they're coming into your store to buy? Oh, well, it's really important for us to have the lowest price. Well, if Mary thinks that price is that important, then how do you think Mary's approach on the sales floor is going to be? It's all going to be price motivated. But we know for a fact that price is way down the list. And because price is way down the list, we're really not selling to the customer, selling to their needs or selling to their wants or selling to them specifically. We're selling what we think is important. This is probably, there's a lot of them, but I would say this is probably the number 1 trap that sales associates fall into. And it doesn't matter if they're new or veteran sales associates or sales managers for that matter. We get caught up in what we do every day, and we put what we think is important first, and it is oftentimes price. And guess what? If you put price at the top of the list, that's going to be the reflection of what your store is. They're a price-driven store. Well, yeah, certainly price is important when you go out to buy things, but all those other things are more important. It doesn't matter if you get a good price if you're not buying the right product. I got a great price on this, but I don't even need any of the features. Well, then you didn't really sell the right product to your customers. So these other 4 things are far more important. Putting price last here was on purpose on our part. And in fact, oftentimes when we're training companies, we tell them to leave price off the list altogether. Don't even think about it, because it'll find a way of creeping its way back in on its own. So we absolutely de-emphasize price, and I would suggest if there's one thing you garner from this presentation today, you do the same. Completely de-emphasize it. Committing to a training program. Everybody commits to a training program. Oftentimes I interview executives of retail companies and I talk to them about what we offer at DMS, and many times one of the first answers out of their mouth is, well, we have a rigorous and outstanding training program and we are committed to it, but upon further review we find that's not the case. We talk about training and we understand the importance of training, but we don't actually make it a routine. We don't actually follow through with it. So it's very important to commit to training, always be learning, as I said earlier. And those areas of training, and there's many areas that you need to constantly improve on. In fact, this was a very difficult slide for me to put together to narrow down to just 6 quick topics to speak about. In our full-blown seminar and in some of our workshops, this is an area that really can be talked about for hours and hours. Because there's just so much, and you're just always learning, and you're always honing, and you're always trying to get better in everything you do, and you're shooting at a moving target. That's why we also need to train every day. As customers change, the world evolves, products evolve and change. So that ends up being a great segue into the first thing, product. Products are ever changing. You know, the old joke was when you go to buy a computer, by the time you walk out of the store and you're loading that computer into your car, it's already outdated. Products are ever evolving. And one of the other things I learned very early in my sales career is that the salesperson that knows more about their product than the guy down the street is the one who's going to win and make the sale. Well, I've taken that a little bit further when I talk about product. I think it's not only more important to know about my products, it's extremely important to know about the products you sell and know them inside and out and everything about them, but it's also important to know about the products that the guy down the street is carrying or the person down the street is carrying. It's important to know just as much about your competitors' products as anything else. Years ago, I worked for a company, and then I switched over to a competitor, and I realized when I got customers coming in that had been to my previous employer, and they came in asking about products they had seen, I had probably as much or more knowledge about those products than the person that worked there. And I found that it really helped me in my presentation. It gave me a lot of credibility with the customer, and it really enabled me to make the sale, and it made it simple. It made it easy because I took such pride in knowing about the products, but then I realized, wow, you really got to know about everything out there, not just the products you carry. Another important note here is I think we all know that not everybody out there is a technical person. So, you know, you can romance your product and you can speak more about the benefits than the features, but it's still important to know everything about your product. You don't necessarily have to share every nut and bolt and every spec with your customers, but just knowing about it gives you a certain confidence when you're speaking to your customer. And for those that do throw out those questions, you don't look like they're throwing you for a loop. You look like a sales associate that's confident, that has supreme knowledge of your product, and you are presenting in that way. Remember earlier we said that perception is reality in this business. And if they perceive you for even 1 second to lack in knowledge about your product or your service or your industry, that's going to come through to your customers. So super important to stay on top of your products as they change and your competitors' products as well. Know your strengths and know your weaknesses. Most people tend to know their strengths and their competitors' weaknesses. It's almost more important the other way around. Know your competitors' strengths and know your weaknesses, both as you as a salesperson and of your products. You know, procedure, that's pretty much straightforward. You have to know procedure. You have to know how to ring up a sale. You need to make those things seamless and in the background so that you can constantly talk to your customer. If you've done a great job building a rapport with your customer, and then when you're going through the procedural part of the sale, typing in their name, running their visa, and all of a sudden you can't walk and chew gum at the same time because you don't really know procedure, all of a sudden you've stopped communicating with the customers. So I'm just going to say this real simply. Know the procedures of your store for the same reasons, so you look confident and professional, and you don't look like somebody who's unorganized and doesn't understand. Sales and customer service training, well, you know, I can't talk enough about that. You always have to be getting better, and this is one of the areas that we can talk about for days, and sometimes I do, even to myself. I'm so enamored with this part of the business, and constantly improving your sales techniques and improving your words. One of the simple areas that I always try to improve is my vocabulary. And the short of that is simply you're trying to paint a picture for a customer, and the more appropriate words you use, the more descriptive words you use in doing so, the better picture you paint. And the better picture you paint, the easier it is to make the sale for your customer, the better they'll perceive you, your product, your store. And as far as customer service goes, we'll talk about that again a little bit more in a second, but you have to serve your customer. Remember, customer service, it has the word serve right in it. That's you serving your customer, not the other way around as it oftentimes is. Develop a performance culture. This is easier said than done. This is another area that we speak at great length in the full-blown webinar and the workshops. But I will tell you this, developing a performance culture can be as simple as leading by example. Now, leading by example as a manager is pretty simple. It's practicing what you preach. It's hard for you to tell your sales associates this is what needs to be done at all times if you're not doing it yourself. You create that culture by embracing it yourself as a manager and showing and leading by example. And as a sales associate, you're leading by example as well. You're leading your peers. You're showing your managers that you embrace the system, that you embrace the program, that you embrace the overall philosophy of the company, which is taking care of customers and selling at the highest level of integrity possible. And you're leading by example in that way as well. So all of those things working together, they're like cogs that work together that turn each other in a watch. If you ever pull the back off of a watch and you look at it and you see all these cogs that work together that help you to keep time, well, it's the same thing in a company. If all the people are doing their job correctly, you are developing a performance culture, and that performance culture is what creates success. It creates competition. It creates peer competition, but it's a friendly competition. You want to do well and you want to be the best, but you want to be the part of something bigger that does well against its competitors as well. Performance culture is extremely important, and if you don't have it, it's something that you should start today making certain that you put in place and doing what you have to do to put it there. So, always be improving. Well, we've talked about that at length, and that's pretty straightforward. If you're not improving, what are you doing? It's that simple. You're either going forward or you're going backward. So I would just say at this point, get busy moving forward before you start getting pushed backward. And as far as training goes, getting back to the overall concept of this slide, I was always a big proponent of taking advantage of sales meetings. I've been to many sales meetings, and again, to use the example, I think sales meetings are phenomenal training tools. And many a times I've talked to many CEOs of retail who say, oh, sure, we have a sales meeting every other week, once a month, every week even. And, right away I said, hey, that's great. That's a great opportunity. I've attended these sales meetings, and what do you think I find takes place at these sales meetings? Well, it's a great training opportunity, but more often than not, I find training meetings and sales meetings become more complaint sessions. The companies talk about new products and things that are coming out. The employees talk about, well, this is wrong, that's wrong. This is what needs to improve to make our job easier. That's not what sales meetings should be. Sales meetings should be positive-only experiences that your sales associates and management alike look forward to going to. If you're running a sales meeting every week, you should be talking to your salespeople and hearing things like, hey, we've got a sales meeting Friday, and I can't wait. I'm looking really forward to it. A sales meeting is the type of thing that after which your salespeople should be ready to run through brick walls for you. They should be highly motivating, and they should be a great training tool, and they should be used to train and motivate. Anything negative should not be brought up at sales meetings. Those things can all be brought up, but that's more of a one-on-one management visit. Those are the appropriate times to go over anything negative is on those visits. But in these sales meetings, they should always stay positive, and they should always have training product in them. One other point real quick. During sales meetings, even if it feels like you're going over the same things over and over and over, I'm just going to give you this quick example. Look at sports teams. They have games and they have practices. What do they do in practice? They go over the basics. They go over the fundamentals. There's an important approach to sports, which is if you have the fundamentals down, talent will shine. So at these sales meetings, you're always going over the fundamentals, and it doesn't matter how many times you go over them. It's important to constantly go over them again and again. Try to add a fresh approach to it each time to keep it fresh for your salespeople, but once they have that down, the talent will shine. So take advantage of your sales meetings and make certain that you make them the training opportunities and the motivation opportunities that they are. In intertraining, you need to commit to a sales approach or a sales program. We at DMS have our 7-step process. This may mirror to some extent some of the processes that your company put into place. It's simple, yet it is important. And it is important to go about it this way each and every time. You know, I sometimes say, for those of you out there that are baseball fans, when a pitch is made and you hit the ball over the fence, you run to first base, then second base, then third base, then home. And you do it that way each and every time, and if you don't do it that way, it doesn't count. Well, it's the same with this. You need to go about it in this manner each and every time, and you have to touch every one of these bases. You need to greet and approach your customers, whereupon once you've built a rapport with them, you need to determine what their needs and their requirements are. You need to then take those needs and requirements, demonstrate and present the benefits in your product that will satisfy those needs and requirements. You need to start closing, close early, and you need to start asking for the sale very early on. If there are any objections to what you have, you need to handle those stalls in the approach, and you need to handle those objections and overcome them and let them know why your product is going to make their life better, as we said earlier. And then you need to close the sale. And I'll say this time and time again, in all the years I've done training and all the years I tried to make myself a better salesperson by reading training materials, there's one constant, and that constant is in a post-store visit interview, customers that did not buy, they are asked, why did you not buy from the store? And who knows what the number one answer is? It's the same year after year, time after time. The number one reason why a customer did not buy from a store, they were not asked. And it is extremely frustrating on the training end that sales associates are trained and taught to ask for the sale, yet time and time again we see them on the floor. They build a great rapport. They do all the things in this program correctly, and then they get the point of asking for the sale, and they wait for the customer to say, okay, I'll take it. When really it's as simple oftentimes of saying, you know what, would that be cash, check, or charge? And that's a closing statement. So customer relationship management is another important part of this process. We'll talk about that in a second, but I just want to reiterate this. Ask for the sale. These are what I like to say are the 5 parts of closing the sale. Ask for it, ask for it, ask for it, ask for it, ask for it again. If all the other steps were executed effectively, it's really as simple as that. It really should be as simple as saying cash, check, or charge. Like I said earlier, oftentimes sales associates will come to me, or I'll speak with sales associates and say, Well, what do you think is the most important step in your sales process? I think it's closing. Well, I don't necessarily think it's closing because, yes, of course, you need to ask for the sale and you need to close the sale, but all the other steps, when done properly, closing is simple as just saying cash, check, or charge. And you'll be amazed once you start doing that how often customers say, well, do you take Visa? We sure do. When would you like to get that? And it's just a matter of bringing the sale to a close is really just asking for it. So we got to talk about customer service here. I want to point out customer service is a proactive thing, not a reactive thing. In other words, we should have a proactive approach to customer service. All too often, customer service departments, so to speak, are complaint departments. That's not what customer service is all about. It should be a proactive approach to keeping your customers happy so there are not complaints. One of the ways, and we will talk in the full-blown seminar and workshop, we talk about all kinds of creative ways to make your customers happy. One of the most important ways is to create added value for your customers. Added value is value they're getting at your store from you that they're not getting elsewhere. At the end of the sale, a lot of customers say, well, Mr. Customer, or I should say, a lot of sales associates say, well, Mr. Customer, will you sign here? Okay, here's your receipt. Have a nice day. But when you are an expert sales associate and you are expert in managing sales associates, you make sure that you take the time to explain after-sale questions. You go through it. It's more of making certain your customers are comfortable with those benefits that are going to feature, those features that are going to benefit them. I'm sorry. Offer to set up their product for them. A great example of this is cell phones and gadgets and things of that nature that once a customer gets it, it might take them 4 hours to set the time, or it might take you 5 minutes or 3 minutes because you know how to do it. Just taking those extra few minutes to set it up for the customer, or even just offer to set it up for the customer, puts you head and shoulders above your competition. Here's one that takes an extra few seconds that I think is super important. Walk your customers to your cars. Now, if you're in a mall and you're in the middle of the mall, certainly this is difficult, but I will say this, no matter what, no matter how busy you are, or no matter where you are located, no matter what you're selling, you should at least walk your customers to the door. And that starts with the next thing. Always come out from behind the counter, hand them their new product, shake their hand, and give them a sincere thank you. We shouldn't thank them from behind the desk or from behind the counter. That's a barrier in between you and your customer. Take the time to walk out from behind whatever that barrier is, look your customer in the eye, smile, give them a sincere thank you, shake their hand, and then walk them to the door. And if you're in the type of mall that you know their car is only another 20 feet from the door, offer to walk them to their car. If it's a product that they purchase that's a little larger, not something they can easily carry in their pocket, you should be carrying that product out to their car for them. These are just extra little added value services that you can give your customer that make a difference, and they resonate with them, and the customer will remember it, and it will make them remember your store, your service, and your company the next time they need to purchase a product. And guess what? They're going to tell some customers about it as well. So, you go out of your way a little bit to make your customer happy. That's what customer service, not fielding complaints as so many people think. Really today, you hear the term customer-centric. That's what it is. Customer service is the art of being customer-centric. And again, you hear a lot of lip service. Customer service is lip service. We take good care of our customers. We're better than our competitors taking care of our customers. But actually doing it and being proactive about it is something else. And that's what needs to be done today. That's what needs to be, the old saying is take the bull by the horns and make sure your customers are happy and being customer-centric. Customer-centric, by definition, is catering to your customer's needs at every touch point in the customer life cycle and in every form of communication with them. So in every cross-touch point, cross-channel, cross-life cycle, no matter what interaction you have with your customers, if you are proactively selling your service and proactively serving your customer, That's what being customer-centric is, and customer-centric is a proactive approach to customer service in today's retail world. A real quick, sharpening your telephone communication skills. This is an area we like to talk about at length as well. It's a lost art. Too many customers are facing frustration when they call your store. There's some simple rules that allow you to not make your customer frustrated. After all, you work hard to build an image and build a rapport with a customer. If you lose it in a matter of minutes when you talk to them on the phone, that's a lot of money down the drain. So always be positive on the phone. PMA, positive mental attitude. No negativity when talking to a customer on a phone. For example, if a customer says, do you carry product X? Well, if you don't carry product X, your answer shouldn't be no. It should be a positive. It should be, well, Mr. Customer, the products we do carry are, and list the products and the features that you do carry. Don't make your customers mind up against your product. It's really simple. They may have some preconceived ideas before they call you, but if you stay positive and you talk about the positives of your products, you're going to paint a better picture, as we talked about before. You can easily talk yourself out of a big sale. Real quickly, do you carry product X? No, we don't carry product X. Okay, thanks. Have a nice day. Well, okay, you just talked yourself out of what could have potentially been a big sale. But if you take the approach, well, you know what we do carry and why we carry it, and this is why it's great, and this is why it's going to make your life better, well, you know what? I may need to go in and take a look at that product and see what they have. Maybe it's better than what I thought I wanted. So your phone talent, as I like to call it, or your phone communication skills are very important, and it's something that's far too often overlooked. It's something that you need to make note of, and for you managers out there, you need to have a program in place. Far too often I come across retail companies that don't even have a program in place. Well, how can your sales associates follow a program if you don't have one? That's pretty simple. So allowing for growth and learning, we're going to sum it up here by saying that shaping perceptions is an everyday thing. You always need to be a leader. You always need to act as if your boss is watching. Make sure you understand your customers, like we talked about earlier. Master your people skills. Seek continued training and learning. And you need to self-motivate. No matter who you are, you need to be the person that eventually does it. It doesn't matter if your company provides all kinds of training for you if you don't have it within to want to improve and get better. So you have to self-motivate no matter what level you're in. Understand that research shows us that the #1 factor in determining where a customer buys is salesperson effectiveness. H.R. Challey did this out of Dayton, Ohio, and the graph looks like this. Salesperson effectiveness on the far right, as you can see, is heads and shoulders above everything else. And we talked about this before. You need to have solutions for customers. You have to have quality product. Pricing is way down on the list if you look to the far left, but by far what stands out more than anything, salesperson effectiveness. So if you're not constantly improving your salespeople, you're losing. You know, you're losing to the people that are. This graph almost tells us that if you have inferior product, inferior pricing, but superior salespeople, you could potentially be on top. Now, we're certainly not going to advocate any of the such. You should have outstanding product, outstanding service, outstanding solutions, outstanding pricing, but you mirror that, or you match that and marry that up to salesperson effectiveness, and it's an absolute winning formula. So allow for growth and learning. Shaping customers' perceptions one day at a time, like I told you before, it's an everyday job. Make certain your customer service is not lip service, that you truly are proactive about it. View your business through your customer's eyes. Make sure you underpromise and overdeliver. The other way around is a recipe for death. Make certain you tell your customers how great you are, but then make sure you're that much greater. And anytime there is a problem with a customer, use it as an opportunity to learn how you could have done things better the first time around, an opportunity to learn how to plug holes in your training, find training gaps, and to improve upon it in the future, and opportunities to better serve your customer. Develop a unique relationship with your customer, and unique meaning better than anywhere else, that you can get it. Keep in touch, keep them informed, keep your salespeople informed, keep on top of it. And remember that retail is showbiz. Perform for your customers, keep it happy, keep it upbeat, keep it friendly, and your customers will constantly come back. So in the short of it, that is what sales training for good and better times is at the retail level. Now, we have a much more in-depth presentation and a much more in-depth program for this. This is what the agenda looks like. It's actually a two-parter that goes greatly in depth and goes greatly in depth on these products, these areas and these techniques we talked about today. Here's day one, here's day two. And it's a program that will really enhance your ability to make your customers happy. And when your customers are happy, you have more sales, better sales, and who doesn't want that right now? And it's a product that we offer that is a really great value at $149.95 for an individual, $299.95 for the team rate. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, for those of you that stuck around to the end, we're going to do a little bit better for that. You know, we whet your appetite today with some of the ideas and some of the things that can help you to improve your sales and improve your bottom line and your top line. We've got so much more to share with you that will make things so much better. But for sitting with us and going with it with us today and seeing what we can do and how we can open your eyes to make things better, we're going to go a step further. We're actually going to offer this program for only $99.95 today for those of you that sign up after this webinar. Matt will tell you a few of the details about how to take advantage of this offer, but we're talking about a huge savings of off the regular prices. Instead of $150, we're only $99.95, and that's, you know, we talk about return on investment and what customers are looking for. Well, we know what our customers are looking for, and that's a way to delight our customers so you can turn around and delight yours. And for $99.95, it's really a heck of a value. A group rate of $199.95. So without further ado, I will turn this over to Matt, who will tell you a little bit about how to take advantage of this great opportunity. And we're also going to field some questions, and we're going to talk about this program a little bit more. Matt, are you there?
Yes, I am. Well, thank you very much, Scott. And just to reiterate that link on the previous page, it's right at the middle, as you see. If you want to sign up for this very special training session, and we do this every week, but as Scott mentioned, Scott is offering you a special just because you took your precious time and attended our webinar. Just go to www.dmsretail.com/sales skills special, and you will see that there will be two buttons, one button for individual sign up, the other one for the group sign up, and then we will send you the login details, and we will take it from there. Now, there's one question. Please send your questions, by the way, if you have any more. Just utilize the chat box right at the bottom of your GoToWebinar box, and we can answer some of your questions if you have any. One question we received, Scott, is about, I'm sure you're talking about this in great detail in the full-blown training session, but it is more like, what about this open-ended and closed-ended questions?
Well,
what's your take on that?
Well, certainly that's a technique that has to be followed, and we go into great detail. We don't even leave it that general. We set up specifically for your business, for your product, for your customer, a set of open-ended questions that we know are designed to engage your customer, to get your customer involved not only early on in the features and benefits, so your customers are involved in that and they're agreeing with you that, yes, this is what I need, yes, this is what I want, but we're asking the type of leading questions that also allow closing the sale to be as simple as just asking cash, check, or charge. So open-ended questions are a a very important part to our technique, and it is something that I appreciate you bringing up because it's something that we spend a lot of time talking about in the full-blown program. So absolutely, and constantly developing those questions. You know, remember earlier I mentioned that we're always shooting at a moving target. Well, if you're asking stale questions that pertain to yesterday's news, you know, you look stale. Remember, perception is reality. So constantly honing those questions and constantly writing those questions and building those questions to build what you want to build. The important thing at the end of the day in terms of your questioning is it's not always important what the customer's answer it is. It's you asking a question to lead a customer to think in a certain direction, in a certain manner. So the psychology of the questioning is something we talk about at great length across the board in all the areas of the sales process.
Very good. Okay. Any other questions? I think that's it. We just got one question, and that's good and bad. It's good that you know, nobody has any questions. That means the webinar went extremely well, and we can always use more questions. But hey, we can do that next time. So once again, I'm going to thank everybody very much, and we hope to see you more in our future complimentary webinars. So on that note, everybody have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.